In this episode, we talk about Karnataka's state government approving the Karnataka Menstrual Leave Policy 2025, which grants women in both the government and private sectors 1 day paid leave each month. We also talk about Google's plan to set up an artificial intelligence data center in Andhra Pradesh, marking its largest ever investment in India. But we begin today by talking about the NDA's seat-sharing arrangement in Bihar and how Chirag Paswan's party has managed to punch above its weight. Hi, I am Niharika Nanda and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. Earlier on Sunday, the National Democratic Alliance finalized its seat-sharing formula for next month's Bihar Assembly Elections. Under this arrangement, it was decided that for the first time, the BJP and the Janata Dal United will contest an equal number of seats, a total of 101 each. But besides this, what stood out and particularly irked Nitish Kumar is that the Chirag Paswan-led Lok Janshakti Party has managed to secure 29 seats. Now, while the BJP says that it was keen to keep the alliance united and healthy, sources say that the decision was also driven by the party's weak footing among Dalit voters. To understand how Paswan managed this and what it means for the alliance, my colleague Shashank Bhargav speaks to the Indian Express's Deeptiman Tiwary.
Deeptiman, this is the first time that JDU and BJP will contest an equal number of seats in the state. And we understand that even in the past, the difference was that of just one seat. JDU used to get one more. But tell us, what does this equal seat sharing say about their power dynamics right now? What does it indicate?
You've rightly pointed out, it is an indication of changing power dynamics between the JDU and the BJP. We know that historically, JDU has been the lead party in the Bihar and the BJP has been the ally historically because Nitish Kumar has been, the leader from the social justice movement, who was seen parallel to Lalu Yadav, the tallest political figure in Bihar, and Nitish Kumar was popular and he led a popular movement. And, it was he who brought the NDA to power in Bihar. And so he traditionally commanded, more seats than the BJP whenever there was a seat sharing arrangement. Also, Nitish Kumar rose above all other leaders in Bihar because of 2-3 things, because despite his own caste vote base is very small. It is around 2.5%, the Kurmis. Yet he tends to command votes from a cross section of castes and a large section of women and Dalits and so many other sections of the society. So that made him a taller leader, because of which he used to demand more seats.
Right, and the other thing to keep in mind is that Nitish Kumar, in total, has been the chief minister for over 19 years now.
Yes, this is going to be 20 years of Nitish Kumar, only behind Jyoti Basu in West Bengal. So there haven't been many chief ministers who have served for so long. So naturally, there is this projection by the JDU that, look, after people like Lalu Yadav and before him, some other tall leaders in Bihar, this is the biggest leader that Bihar has seen, Nitish Kumar. And unlike his predecessors, he's delivered on governance. He is not essentially a caste leader. He's a leader who has attained the moniker of being Vikas Purush and everything else. So that is why the JDU has always pushed for one more seat. This time also it was pushing for one more seat with the BJP because of 2 reasons. It said that, look, in the Lok Sabha polls, the polls are being fought under the leadership of Narendra Modi. And so you took more share of seats for contesting. So the BJP contested 17 seats and JDU contested 16 seats. Yet both the parties won the same number of seats, that is 12 seats each. So the JDU has been claiming that, look, my strike rate is better than you in an election which was fought under the leadership of your leader. So now this assembly polls are being fought under the leadership of Nitish Kumar. He is the CM face. So it is natural that you should give at least one more seat to us. And also this will show that, the BJP is not trying to eat away the party or gobble up the party. The BJP has conversely argued that, look at your performance in the last polls. You almost got us out of the government. You won just 43 seats. We have won 74 seats. We are nearing double your tally. So be happy that we are giving you equal number of seats. your popularity is going down. Obviously, there have been news and rumors around CM's advancing age and his health issues and the general fatigue of the people with 20 years of his leadership. So the BJP is saying that, you better be happy that we're giving you equal number of seats. So all those dynamics have come together to both the parties agreeing on contesting on 101 seats each in Bihar. And definitely it, in a way, shows the changed dynamics within the NDA.
And Deeptiman, of course, besides this, the other thing that has stood out is that Chirag Paswan's LJP has managed to get 29 seats. And we understand that the NDA was only planning to go up to 20, not more than that. So how did Paswan manage to get these extra 9 seats? What worked in his favor?
Well, before I go into the reasons, I would like to quote a BJP leader I was speaking to about this. And he said that LJP does not have more than 5 candidates of its own, but it has got 29 seats. Where is it going to get the rest of the candidates? Nobody knows. So that has been the surprise thing about the 29 seats that LJP has got. Almost every constituent of the NDA, barring the LJP of course, feels that it has got far more than it deserved and is punching way above its weight, and that it does not deserve so many seats, and probably it will be counterproductive for NDA. These seats could have been won by one of the allies or the BJP or the JDU itself. But having said that, the reality is that he has walked away with 29 seats. After JDU, he becomes the biggest ally of the BJP in Bihar. And how he has managed it, for that we need to look at how his father used to manage similarly in all kinds of alliances, be it with the Congress, be it with the BJP. His father has been with both the parties, has served in governments of both the parties, has served in all dispensations. And Lalu Yadav used to often say, Ram Vilas to Mausam Vigyani hai. Like he can sense where the political winds are blowing and he makes way in that direction. So obviously Chirag has learned the ropes of politics from his father. And he has seized on the opportunity. BJP currently is in a vulnerable position as far as Dalit politics is concerned. In 2024 polls, its poor performance is largely due to Dalits not showing any confidence in the party. With the collapse of the BSP, there was some 5 to 6% of votes of Dalits which were up for grabs. But the BJP could not capitalize on them. And all those votes went to the SP, which led unprecedented in recent times victory for the SP in the Lok Sabha polls.
Right, and so much of the narrative around caste went against them, especially because one of the main poll rhetorics of the opposition was that the BJP is essentially against the constitution.
Yes, and this was a controversy created by BJP MPs itself, because at least 4 MPs we know in their, election campaigns, they started saying that, when we come to power, there will be Hindu Rashtra or hum Samvidhan badal denge, we will change the constitution. So obviously the opposition was quick to pick up this issue and turn it into, a poll issue. And it clicked with, especially Dalits in the state who did not show any confidence in the BJP and went in large numbers to the SP and the Congress. Part of it was also because SP and Congress did some seat distribution in a manner that, they gave tickets to Dalits from general seats, which gave Dalits more confidence about the alliance. So all these things coming together and, off and on, even after those Lok Sabha polls, even though the Prime Minister keeps talking about Ambedkar, RSS keeps talking about Ambedkar, and they keep talking about Dalit rights and everything. Off and on from nooks and corners of, the saffron fold, there are these voices which come in manner that they tend to threaten, the dispossessed and underprivileged sections of the society. Like, for example, even right now, like that lawyer who threw a shoe at CJI B.R. Gavai is not from the BJP. Is not a party spokesperson, but he does this in the name of Sanatan Dharma. So when such kind of incidents happen, people put 2 and 2 together and say that, this is the kind of atmosphere that these guys want. This is what they want. So a narrative gets created, which comes to the disadvantage of the BJP. Again, in Haryana, we have an IPS officer who has committed suicide. He's a Dalit IPS officer, and he has alleged caste bias. Haryana has a BJP government. It has put the BJP government under a lot of pressure. So all these things, when they come together, they put the BJP in a vulnerable position. And then a Dalit party, and it is the only big Dalit party which they have in alliance. Maji, for all practical purposes, is a much smaller player in Bihar, with his influence limited around the Gaya region. Ram Vilas Paswan was a very tall Dalit leader, and Chirag is exploiting his legacy at the moment. He knows that BJP is scared of losing Dalit votes, and this is the time when I can drive a hard bargain with it.
Yeah, and he's actually been building up to this, right? Since May this year, he's been making statements and even challenging the state government.
Yes, first he said that I'm going to return to state politics. We checked with our sources within the party and they said that no, there is no such plan. He is not going to contest. He is not going to do anything. Then he started criticizing the Nitish Kumar government. He even made some sharp comments on the law and order situation in Bihar, saying that he was ashamed of supporting a government which had, screwed up law and order situation in the state. So all these kind of comments within the NDA put a lot of pressure on the alliance. And this was merely a build-up to what has happened now.
And Deeptiman Paswan, I suppose, is also riding high on the fact that his party managed to win all the 5 seats they contested in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls.
In fact, that's what he kept arguing throughout the seat negotiations, and earlier as well. He said that, look, I had 100% strike rate. You gave me 5 seats and I won all of them. Okay. And so I must get 40 seats. Obviously, the alliance was like that. No, 20 is good enough for you. That is what we think you can win. Not more than that. But then he said that I have won 5 seats. BJP people say that you won 5 seats because Narendra Modi was going to become the prime minister. If you look at LJP's own performance, when it has gone independent, in 2020 assembly polls, it contested 134 seats. It could win only 1. So, everybody knows that what is your political heft on the ground. You have some votes. You have 4.5 to 5% votes, which is valuable, and we are giving you that respect within the alliance, but you're not worth 40. But he kept pushing it on the basis of, his 100% strike rate and 5 Lok Sabha MPs. Eventually, what we understand that it was the Delhi leadership which took a call. First, 20 was revised to 25, then to 26, and eventually it was agreed upon to give him 29 seats. There is also this talk within the NDA that in some ways the Prime Minister has some sort of a personal liking for Chirag Paswan, which obviously can, weigh on any decision making within the alliance. Prime Minister's voice will always matter more than any other leader.
And Deeptiman, now that they've reached this agreement, what do senior leaders in the NDA feel about this? What does JDU feel about this?
Well, JDU feels that seats are being wasted on LJP. Obviously, JDU and LJP haven't had the best of relationships. Okay. In 2020, JDU suffered massively because of LJP fielding candidates exclusively against JDU candidates. So obviously there is no love lost between the two parties. Then, in his entire campaign of putting pressure on the alliance, Chirag Paswan has only attacked Nitish Kumar and not any BJP leader. So naturally, they don't like each other so much. They are in an alliance for the sake of the alliance. Obviously, JDU feels that, too many seats have been given to them. Already there are leaders who are, sitting on dharnas and protesting in different constituencies. In Bhagalpur, the MP has sought permission from Nitish Kumar to resign, saying that he has not been consulted on seat sharing affairs. Till the end of day, there was another, former MLA who was sitting on dharna in front of the CM's residence. What we have learned from JDU sources is that the chief minister himself is slightly uncomfortable with the way the seat sharing has been done. And he feels that, at least on critical seats, these things should have been managed better, and people who could not get tickets should have been placated in a better manner, or these adjustments should have been made in a manner that, there aren't any rebels on the ground. And there are also talks of some renegotiations on, the nature of seats the parties are fighting, and maybe also on some numbers that are going on. What will be the results of this, we don't know.
And you mentioned the relationship that JDU shares with the LJP. But can you tell us, how has BJP's attitude been towards the LJP? Because after the party split in 2021, LJP, of course, blamed JDU. But during that time, what was BJP's reaction? What camp did they pick?
It has actually been quite strange, so to say. Chirag has had a very roller coaster ride as far as his relationship with the BJP is concerned. In 2020, many believe that it was on BJP's support that he went alone in Bihar elections and fielded candidates against the JDU, cutting Nitish Kumar to size, which actually helped the BJP become the senior partner for the first time within the alliance. And since then, BJP has been exerting pressure on the JDU. But immediately after that, like his uncle Pashupati Kumar Paras walked away with 4 of the 6 MPs that the party had. And he even walked away with the symbol. His legislature party was recognized by the lower house. All of this could not have happened without the support of the BJP, and he joined the BJP government at the center, and Chirag Paswan was left in the lurch. By April 2021, he was literally on the road. His father had died. The Housing and Urban Development Ministry forcibly evicted him from his father's bungalow. I mean, there are visuals of his belongings on the road with a picture of Ramvilas Paswan on the top of the pile. And he said that he felt, cheated and humiliated, in his bites to the media at that time. And for all practical purposes, everyone thought that this guy is finished because, the BJP has joined hands with Pashupati Kumar Paras and, it wants Chirag to be finished.
Right, and that in many ways was an all-time low for him. How did he manage to turn things around for himself? How did he manage to then get into BJP's good books?
So he understood that where the power lay, and he never criticized Narendra Modi, despite all this so-called cheating and humiliation and all that he and his family went through after his father's death. And second thing, he started calling himself Hanuman of Narendra Modi, who is Ram. He went back to Bihar, another important thing that he did, and he started building his organization, going to the people, talking to them, and basically reclaiming the legacy of Ramvilas Paswan. He realized that he will survive in politics only if he can convince the people that he is the real claimant of his father's legacy and not Pashupati Kumar Paras, who had both the party and the symbol and the support of the BJP. And he drew decent crowds. Of course, it helped that Ramvilas Paswan had just died. So there was public sympathy for the son. It's in Indian culture. So he drew huge crowds, never criticized the BJP, never criticized the Prime Minister. And then slowly the NDA doors were opened for him. And the way after Lok Sabha elections, where his party was given 5 seats and he won all 5 of them. And after that, when there was this celebratory meeting of the NDA, the way the Prime Minister is learned to have hugged him and praised him, it showed that, the Prime Minister has a special liking for him, the way he has operated himself. And, he had also sort of shown that he has some bit of political astuteness where he can sense political winds and flow with it.
And next we turn to Karnataka, where the state cabinet last week approved the Karnataka Menstrual Leave Policy 2025, which allows 1 day of paid leave each month for women working in all government offices as well as in industries like IT and textiles. Speaking about policy, Law and Parliamentary Affairs Minister H.K. Patil said that this aims to ensure welfare of women in the state. Currently, Odisha and Bihar have similar provisions for government employees, while Kerala grants menstrual leave to female students in all state universities under the Higher Education Department. Now, to understand the importance of such policies and the concerns around their possible misuse, we earlier spoke to the Indian Express's Anonna Dutt. Anonna, over the years, there has been a growing demand for period leaves, not just in India but around the world as well. Can you tell us why there has been a push for this?
So for most women, the experience of menstruation is quite different. And while most people might just experience some sort of pains and cramping, some discomfort, some hormonal issues which can result in lack of concentration, there are quite a number of women who experience extremely painful periods, resulting sometimes in people fainting, needing hospitalization, especially people who have conditions such as endometriosis. It can be quite tough for them every month. Usually the first, second days can be quite tough for them. So that is why there has been an increasing demand that women who need it should be allowed to take leaves during their periods without the fear of judgment or without the fear of losing out on their pay.
And you mentioned endometriosis earlier. For those who might not know, can you tell us a bit about that and the other issues that often make it difficult for women to work during menstruation?
So endometriosis is basically a condition where the lining of the uterus, the tissue that lines the uterus, is found on other organs in the abdominal cavity, which also bleed at the same time when you're having your periods, which results in these cavities of blood in your abdomen, which is extremely painful because this blood doesn't have an outlet, unlike within the uterus. So it can be quite painful. Other than that, of course, there are certain conditions which are not as common. Like one of the gynecologists mentioned, there's something called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is a more extreme form of PMS, where there is a lot of mood shifts, and it is very difficult for women with this condition to work during the time. There are PCOS and other symptoms which lead to heavy bleeding, irregular periods. So just saying that you would get, say, 2 leaves a month is also not enough, because some women would not need it every month, but they might need like 3-day, 4-day leave when they do get their period. So there cannot be a uniform policy, but women should be allowed to take it when they need it.
And Anonna, are there any medications or medical interventions at the moment that help alleviate some of these health problems?
So if you look at the research for years, there's not really any particular pain alleviating drug or treatment that's specifically meant for menstruation. For most women, the pain is manageable with the regular painkiller or, say, muscle relaxants like Meftal that can help with the cramps. Otherwise, these days there are, say, heat patches and menthol patches that are available, which can help to a certain degree with the pain, but it's not enough for a lot of people, especially those with endometriosis. Like I said, the pain can get very bad, and these interventions are not enough. Other than that, for endometriosis, there is surgery to, remove these tissues from wherever it's found outside the uterus, but that's also not very successful because they tend to get it back after some time. So you're back to square one again, which is why for some people it is very important to take a leave and stay at home during this time.
And we understand that in 2023, the Health Ministry had released a draft policy. And this was a draft which said that to promote inclusivity, educational institutions and workplaces should have a flexible work environment, and people should be able to take support leaves. And what was really interesting was that this draft did not talk only about females taking such leaves, but anyone who menstruates. So it even considered the transgender community. But then after that, nothing came of it. Especially after Smriti Irani that year had stood up in the parliament and said that periods are just a natural part of our lives and that women have been living with it forever and it's not a handicap.
So this is the explanation that you would see a lot of gynecologists, especially the older generation of gynecologists, also talking about. It's the politics of the time, in which they consider that if these sort of, say, special leaves to women for menstruation, that would result in discrimination against women in the workforce. That is their main motive behind it. It's not that they do not want women to be comfortable. It's just that they do not want women to be discriminated against. Especially when we see things like maternity leaves, which while it shouldn't, but is sometimes taken as a negative point while hiring a woman. So this is mainly the reason that women who do not want period leaves cite.
And Anonna, could you speak to these concerns a bit more and talk about why some people fear that period leaves will be used against them?
So there is the feeling that in a corporate culture where they are looking at numbers as to how much people are working, what is their productivity, what are the KRAs. In such an environment, there is a feeling that if you take more leaves, that will be counted against you. And that's the thing with maternity leaves. And so if you talk to doctors who support menstrual leaves and, women in general who've been fighting for the rights of women, there has always been this concern with anything, say, whether it's maternity leave or the POSH guidelines coming into place, or in Delhi, the government saying that after a certain hour you have to provide transportation for women to go back home. These kind of regulations have always come with this fear that it could lead to, a decline in the number of women in the workforce. I think in several other, people who've been working in the field say that the best way to do it is also to give equivalent leave to men, give paternity leaves, give support leaves. If you have these leaves available to men, then they don't necessarily count as a drawback for women or anybody who's menstruating.
And also, Anonna, there are some who fear that period leaves, if granted, could be misused. To what extent do you think that's a valid concern?
So, if you look at rape law or even the POSH guidelines, there has always been a fear that, women will misuse it or people will misuse it. But any law or guideline that we bring in this country it focuses on whether it helps more people than it harms. So yes, some people might take these leaves frivolously. And I mean, if it's part of your, package, why not make use of these leaves? But if it's helping most women, then I think it's a good move to go ahead with.
And finally, we talk about the tech giant Google, which has announced its biggest ever investment in India, a $15 billion plan to build an artificial intelligence data center in Andhra Pradesh over the next 5 years. Google is partnering with the Adani Group and Airtel to develop the project, which will include an international subsea gateway. The Indian Express's Sumrendra Barik reports that the AI hub will be based in Visakhapatnam and will form a part of Google's global network of data centers in 12 countries. Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian said that it would be the company's largest AI investment outside the United States. The announcement was made at an event attended by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, who welcomed the investment, calling it a major step towards the government's India AI mission. He also urged the industry to help retain IT professionals for AI-driven services, which he described as a new category in the country's digital economy. Developed with Airtel and Adani Connex, which is a joint venture between Adani Enterprises and Edge Connex, the project will use the same infrastructure that supports Google's core products, such as Search, Workspace, and YouTube. Parikh writes that the new subsea gateway in Visakhapatnam will connect multiple international cables to Google's 2 million miles of existing fiber lines, improving network resilience and capacity alongside existing landings in Mumbai and Chennai. Google and Adani said that the project will also involve co-investment in new transmission lines, clean energy generation and storage systems, enhancing Andhra Pradesh's power grid while supporting the hub's operations. We also heard from Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu, who said that the project would directly and indirectly create about 1.88 lakh jobs, and it marks a turning point for both the state and the country's AI future. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Shashank Bhargav and me, Niharika Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.